So, how's your soul? Have you taken a moment to just do a little test to see how am I feeling? Do I really have exuberant joy on a regular basis, even as you perhaps watch the world go down in flames? Am I settled? Do I have peace? Am I a happy person? If not, perhaps this is the time to do a little soul care. Have you contemplated the cost of your cell phone?
Well, the internet's quite a challenge, and our generation is the generation trying to figure out how to use this thing well. It's going to exist for the foreseeable future, but as a new technology, we're the ones who are thrust into trying to figure out what it is, what it can do well, what it can't do well, and how to use it in virtuous ways instead of sinful ways.
I would like to ask you, is it possible that it is robbing you of joy? That it is causing you to feel everybody's carking cares, and you are having to pay a pretty heavy price in the emotional department? You and I are not built to receive all of the information that you and I get through our daily dose of browsing through our feeds, checking out all the news sites, getting texts from everybody. Hey, did you see this story? Is it possible that you and I are experiencing something we were not intended to experience? Could it be that God didn't wire us to carry every event taking place in every part of the world at every moment as if it were ours? Have you taken the time to consider what is the cost of the progress that we know as the cell phone? And is it possible, without even knowing it, like a frog in the boiling water, we don't realize, yikes, this progress is robbing me of joy? An article from Stand to Reason, very helpful, asking this question: could it be that technology has produced a full omniscience and omnipresence that is hurting you and not helping you? Because of our cell phones or our laptops or your desktop, you and I get thrown into a faux omniscient, omnipresent world, a world you and I were never intended to inhabit. Up until the last fraction of human existence, we've only had to carry events that directly affect us and our families and local communities. Remember the days of local news only? You knew what was happening in your zip code, and that was pretty much it. And that perhaps was enough. Why? Because you and I are not omniscient. We were never intended to be omnipresent, and yet our technological devices throw us into a world you and I were never intended to inhabit. Constant carnage is funneled through our eyes and embedded into our souls. Bad news, terror, murder, violence, economies crashing. Bang, bang, bang. You are barraged with bad news as if you can do something about it and as if you can handle it. And the Bible tells us we can't. Why? We're not built to be omniscient. In a matter of minutes, we've watched multiple evil events. It is absolutely overwhelming. Yep, you take it, you get it. The feed, it keeps feeding, and the bad news, it keeps coming, and imperceptibly, perhaps, it is robbing you of joy. God, who is omnipresent, can handle all that evil, pain, and tragedy. He's capable. He has the bandwidth to not become overwhelmed. We don't have that capacity.
The immutable, sovereign, loving, faithful, gracious, omnipotent Lord of heaven, whose word cannot return void, always achieves his purposes. His plans are invincible. He speaks, and it will happen.
And we would be wise to just take a moment, saint, and consider, yikes, have I been taking on the cares of the world? And
yeah, the more technological advancements, the more it robs us of the little joys that life brings, the little things that makes it all worth living, right? There's a reason why you're being inundated with frivolous things, entertainment, 24 hours of the day, non-stop. There are numerous streaming services available now. Your Netflix, HBO's, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Apple. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Most of the times, the filth they put out there is not even worth it, right? But they put it out there as long as it keeps you engaged, as long as it keeps you detached from what really matters, right? They will put it out there just to get a hold of your attention, right? And they riddle you with all kinds of fear tactics to keep you living in fear that you wouldn't even enjoy life like you're supposed to. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, we have TVs. I have TV. I have streaming channels. But you have to balance these things out, right? You can't just fill your mind, like you said, your soul, with all these things constantly. What are the effects that it has on you, right? You have to think about this. So you have to balance it out. And how do you balance it out? Well, it brings us here real quick. In Psalms, the first chapter and the first verse, it says, the righteous and the wicked contrasted. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Day and night. All praises to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chahakodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continue to teach us this truth. Peace, salutation, shalom, shalom, shalom to all your brothers and sisters that are of the household of faith, the 144,000 mighty men of Israel, and the rest of the men, women, and children that will be delivered in these latter days that are of the elect. To you, I say shalom, and shalom to the brothers that are pushing this truth in honesty and in sincerity. Shalom. Right? I was just watching that clip, you know. It just had a lot of thoughts flowing into my mind, right? How a lot of the distractions we get, what is the point of all this distraction? Well, the main point of all the distraction is to detach you or to keep you so far away from the words of God, right? The words that are written in the Bible. You know, the holy word, the living water. That is their main aim, because like it says here, let's read on in Psalms, the first chapter, and the second verse. It says, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law that he meditate day and night. So now your mind is supposed to be occupied in the words that are written in the Bible, right? So now they give you an alternative. That alternative is this streaming services, whether it's in your phone, you know, the social media, the comment sections, everybody just going crazy, bashing each other, everyone and their friggin' opinions, right? Now you have to fill your minds with all this shit, right? Excuse my French. What does it do to you? You see? But the main thing you're supposed to be focused on, the words that are written in the Bible, which is life, which is truth, which is health to your bones. You see? You're not able to give it your time, give it your energy, give it your attention, right? To meditate upon it. You're not able to fully do that because these other things are taking you so far away from it. So all of this is done by design, man. It is all done by design. They know exactly what they're doing because these words will heal you. It will give you perception. It will give you, put you in a right frame of mind, no matter what it is. Yeah, we're supposed to watch the news and know what is going on, but that shouldn't be your end-all, be-all, man, right? You're supposed to give time for the word of the Lord to grow in you, to fill you up. You see what I'm saying? So reading on, the third verse, It says, and he shall be like the tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. And who is that talking about? Those that are occupied in the words that are written in this Bible. It says here that that he shall be like he or she shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. In other words, you will flourish, right? You will grow in grace, in truth. You see what I'm saying? This is what the one so far away from you. So you wouldn't be able to grow. You wouldn't have this word, filling you up and directing your path and making you shine. You see what I'm saying? It says his leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Do you hear that? That is the promises that are given to those that are occupied in the word of the Lord. Because the word of the Lord is life. It is health to your bones, right? It gives you direction. It's like a light that lights a path for you to walk on. You see? So the more they detach you from that, the more they take you away from that, guess what? You become empty. This is where you lack joy in your life. Yeah, there's all kinds of shit happening. We know that. But still, there is still joy, right? And that joy can only be found in this word, right? Through this word, understanding that no matter what happens in this life we live, righteousness will always prevail, right? Good will always prevail over evil, even though it seems like evil is winning because it's the time for evil, right? But how would you know that if you're not occupied in the word? You see? And this is what they want, right? So it says here, his leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The fourth verse says, the ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away, right? They're like dust. The wind blows and it just blows all over the damn place. You shouldn't be like that. You should be deeply rooted. You should stand firm in the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. By so doing, you will not be moved, man. Because you know what you stand on. You stand on the rock, which is our Lord Yahushai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, right? The fifth verse, it says, therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. See that? That's what it says in the subheading, the contrast, between the righteous and the wicked. Because there's always that divide, right? There's always the wicked and the righteous. So where do you stand, man? If you find yourself delighting in more folly than the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, then I got bad news for you. Maybe you're not of the righteous. But if you find yourself delighting more in the words of the book that are written in the book, the words of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the words of God, guess what? 9 times out of 10, you are the righteous. You see? The 6th verse. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. So you have to find a balance, man. Yeah, we fool around a little bit. We watch this or this or this or that, kick back and do whatever. But you can't let it take away from you meditating in the words here, because this is where it's at. This is the real thing. This is the real deal. Not every other thing that's out there. Everything else out there will bring nothing but embarrassment, disgrace, shame. It will lead you to all kinds of places, even death, spiritually dead, right? That's what the world brings. But you can only have that life in the word, in the living word. You see? Let's get this real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus, the 39th chapter. Start at the first verse. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. You see that? But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High power. You see? So your mind, your soul, should be occupied in the words of the living book, and the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, You know, any other thing else is just, every other thing else. It doesn't really matter, right? Just for you to be entertained. That entertainment brings you what? It brings you misery most of the times. Look at all the people on social media just going crazy, insulting one another. It's too much. Sometimes it's just too much. You just have to kick back and be like, to hell with it, right? And read the word of the living book. That is what will give you real satisfaction, real joy, real fulfillment. You can't find that in the world, man. Not anymore. You see? So let's read that again. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof. There goes that word, meditate. You have to constantly be in this word, man. Balance it out. Not always in all frivolous things, man. You have to be in righteous things also. You have to be in things that matter. It says, we'll seek out the wisdom of all the ancient. What is the wisdom of all the ancient? The book of Isaiah, the book of Jeremiah, Matthew, Mark, Peter, all the words that are written in the book. That is the words of the ancient, man. The wisdom of the ancient men that have lived and recorded everything down, which is the word of the Lord, right? It says, and be occupied in the prophecies, You got to know what is happening. You have to know what time we're in, right? And you can only know that by the prophecies. What is prophecy? To say something before it happens. You have to know that through the words that are written in the book. This is where you find prophecies, the book of Revelations, the book of Isaiah, the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, right? Jeremiah, all these books, Habakkuk. You see, there are nothing but prophecies. Prophecies contained in them. Even in Psalms, Proverbs. You see? The second verse, it says, he will keep the sayings of the renowned men. Who are those? Like we said earlier, Isaiah, Jeremiah, these men, renowned men of old. They had the wisdom. They were embedded with the wisdom of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to write all these prophecies down, to write all these words down, right? It says, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. And where do you find that? In the book, in the word, right? That's why you can't let the cares of this life to consume you to a point where you have no time for the word, to meditate in the word. You cannot do that. You cannot do that, man. It is futile to do that. It doesn't pay. It says he will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. Because most of the times the words that are written in the book, they're written in like dark parables. You have to have the spirit to decipher it, and you have to have teachers also to teach you these things. You see? That's what it is. The fourth verse, it says, he shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he hath tried the good and the evil among men. It goes on and on and on. Well, the fifth verse says, he will give his heart to resort early to the Lord that made him, and he will pray before the Most High, and will open his mouth in prayer and make supplications for his sins. You see, so these are the things that really matter, not all this other nonsense, man. You have to balance it out. You have to balance it out, man. The sixth verse says, when the great Lord will, he shall be filled with the spirit of understanding. He shall pour out wise sentences and give thanks unto the Lord in his prayer. So, Lord willing, he will bestow you with all kinds of wisdom that when you open your mouth, people will regard you. Be like, man, who is this guy? Or who is this lady? You see? That's what it is, man. But that can only happen with you spending time in the word. It cannot just happen out of the blue. You have to spend time in the word. Be occupied in it. The seventh verse, he shall direct his counsel and knowledge, and his secrets he shall meditate. He shall show forth that which he had learned, and shall glory in the law of the covenant of the Lord. Man, I mean, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful verses. But I will stop it right there. Just a little something, thoughts that were going into my mind as I was watching that clip, you know. Like, man, all this distraction, the main thing is doing is to take us away from meditating in the Word, for being occupied in the Word. And we shouldn't let it, man. We shouldn't let it. You should always have time for you to read the Bible, read the words of life, to be filled with it, you know. And with that, all praises to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Hahakodash, double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone. See you next time, Lord willing. Shalom. Shalom.